Patrick, is it okay if we sit right here?
Hey, before we get started, probably for the coaches, whenever we get hand out players, you guys are going to go out. Don't walk up the aisleway with the cameras. Okay, come this way and return this way. Okay, and then we'll have coaches out there hand out the awards as we do that. Okay. Have to go up there eventually when we get started.
Okay, welcome, and to get this award ceremony on its way, the first award, I'm going to get the pleasure to give this first award, and it's the SOC 2020 Division II Football Coach of the Year Award, and that goes to Coach Crabtree and one of my very best friends. So we really congratulate you, and we know this was very well deserved. So congratulations.
I will say, again, we're very appreciative of that award, but ultimately that goes to, as well, to our coaching staff and, all the players and all the hard work that went into that, okay? Again, my name may be on that, but, it's definitely a team deal. Before we get started here, we'll have the cheerleaders, if you guys want to present your picture collages to the players in a few seconds. Hang on one second, ladies, real quick before we get started. What I want to do, if you don't mind here, I just kind of want to take a moment of silence. We've lost some people that report to us within the last year that were part of this program. So just a moment of silence here for John Knight, Misty Bushhats, and Sonia Swain. Okay, thank you. So cheerleaders, if you guys would want to go ahead and present your picture collages to the players, and we'll go ahead and let you guys do that. Again, ladies, we appreciate everything that you guys do for us throughout the season, and again, it's obviously been a unique year, and maybe didn't get to do all the cheering that you would have liked to, but during our home games and our home playoff games, it was great to have your signs and things that you do. We appreciate everything. Again, for the senior players, this is something that's special. They can always look back upon this season, and it's nice to have those. Okay, before we get going here, Lady Deal, would you do us the honor? It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had everybody together. It's awful nice to see you guys as a group. So we might as well do this the right way. Okay, so I'm going to go through, and again, I have a lot of people to thank, and again, I don't want to leave anybody out because all these folks have some type of part or have an impact within our program. So, again, I want to thank the Board of Education, our administration, athletic boosters, our parents, businesses, fans, and community, and all those that do so many things behind the scenes for us that help make our program successful. Specifically, I want to thank Mr. Dickens and Mrs. Marquez, and Board of Education, Mr. Shepard, Bo Arnett, our athletic director, who does everything from laundry and making sure the field and everything's set up, Patrick Williams, who does our technology, and a lot more than just that for us to make sure that we have the things that we need to do to make our program run successfully. Again, to the cheerleaders, thank you for everything you do for us, and Mrs. Bonneville, for your guys' support and all the signs and things that you make, and how you support our boys. We really appreciate that. For the band, Zach Ross, again, we have a great band. They put on great halftime shows, and again, we, for many years now have brought back the fight song at the end of the game, and our players get to sing that, and we appreciate that as well. All About Children they've supported us with their summer shirts and our camp gear and stuff like that, so we appreciate what they do for us there. Our parents organization, our Mothers Club, without those individuals, again, usually it's a lot of senior parents, but it doesn't have to be, and many other parents are going to get involved. Jenny Durham and Mandy Dutcher were two people I kind of leaned on this past season, and they kind of made sure that all the food and everything gets taken care of for our summer practices, two-a-days, and all the feeds before and after the game. So again, that's very important and makes our program go. And again, our guys are well taken care of, and very seldom do they go hungry. New Covenant has always kind of done something for our seniors at the end of the season, and they did it again this year, and we appreciate that. Our filming with Dan Sand and Jay Taylor, very important for our film, for our own breakdown purposes and what we need to send off to other teams. Bob and Becky Owens, they drove the equipment for us, as they have done for several years now. Vicki Hoover, taking care of all our forms. Our trainer, Lauren Breitenball, Dr. Taka, our team doctor. Matt Snodgrass for our stats. Julie Billings for covering us with the News Watchman. Sports Shoes, Pam Bogmore, who does a lot of our shirts and other cloth. And to all the photographers, I know it was a unique year. Some of them didn't get to go out and attend all the games like they had in the past, but we were so lucky to have those folks that take pictures and post those on social media, to kind of document the history of your career here at Waverly. We had a new thing with the live streaming this year, and I went back and was able to listen to some of those and watch some of those games, and I thought, Chip Walter and Devin Smith, and we had a one-time appearance by Coach Bonneville, who I thought did a really good job as well. And it was very entertaining to listen to those guys do that, and I think it was at least a nice way for our fans that couldn't attend the games to be able to watch the games. And we have a special gift for the players this year for winning the league and beating Willersburg. We did something special. So Jeff Grimes and his family and the Atomic Credit Union were able to donate some money to help support that cause and effort. So we appreciate that from them today as well. To our boosters organizations, our Tiger Club, the Waverly Athletic Boosters, without your support, we don't have the nice things that we have. We do a pretty good job of fundraising for ourselves to help offset some costs, but the boosters and the Tiger Club, they do a lot of great things for us to make sure that we have the nice helmets, we have the best shoulder pads, that we have the best uniforms. So again, can't say enough about what they do for us as a program. As far as our ball boys on Friday nights, those guys do a tremendous job. It's not just to show up and stand around and have a good time on the sideline. Those guys have specific details that they have to take care of. They do a great job of making sure all the equipment's loaded up and things that we don't have to worry about as a staff. They get it taken care of. From the footballs to the film, equipment, and all those types of things. So Mason Kelly, Mason Pollard, Kate Carroll, Will Armstrong, Brandon Robertson, Drez Bolin Hitchens also was a part of that. So again, we can't say enough of those guys, and generally those are our junior high football guys, and next year will be their time to be freshmen, and someone else will step up and take that role. For our junior high staff, again, it starts there with developing the fundamentals and things that we want to do in high school. So Trayvon Boland and Dakota Sparks, Connor Smith, Kyle Levere, Trey Clemens, and coaching staff. Again, we've been together for quite some time. There's a lot of familiarity to this group of people. But I just want to recognize those guys real quick. And they're all sat behind the camera, so it doesn't do any good to have them stand up. But, so Jason Bowen, wide receivers, defensive back. Freddie Marquez, worked with the defensive line. He's the guy that, you know, if I ask him to do special teams, or he's going to coach tight ends, or he's going to coach offensive line, or he's going to coach outside linebackers, he just does it all. And, you know, he's been a former head coach, and you know, oftentimes I bounce ideas off of him and kind of see if I'm doing things the right way. So we appreciate all the things that Coach Marquez does as well. Zach Smith, our running backs and defensive line coach. Again, I got to thank him for putting this PowerPoint presentation and doing this today. Again, this is something I think is going to be very nice for you guys to look back on and be able to watch. So not only does he do a great job on the football field, but he's got some technology savvy as well. Coach Sand, who does a lot of our other technology, set in our film crew, and again, he's one of those guys I ask him to do a lot of different things that kind of, you know, don't always deal with football, but are involved with football. And he also coaches our tight ends and helps with the defensive, with the linebackers this year as well. Coach Knight, quarterback coach, defensive line coach. Again, you know, he's kind of my right-hand guy. I lean on him a lot. We spend a lot of time together as far as either whether we're lifting on our own or we're in the weight room together working with our players as well. So, you know, a lot of the success we have here and things that we have done here in the years that I've been the head coach here, you know, he's been a big part of that. Jordan Belt, you know, volunteer assistant, coached offensive line this year, just did a tremendous job. Again, a former player here, started kind of with our program and you know, has a great passion and a great interest in the game. And, you know, he's just getting better and better every year. And we're lucky to have him. Tyler Rose, wide receivers and linebackers. Again, you know, been in the staff for a few years now, does a tremendous job. You know, I think our linebackers, you know, have done a really, really good job these past few years. And again, we're going to graduate a couple of them, so he's going to have his work cut out for him to mold the next couple of great linebackers here. So again, very proud of these guys and all the effort that they do. Again, without them, you know, we wouldn't be nearly have the success that we have had here. And special thank you to the coaches' wives and the families. You know, again, football is a time-consuming sport to coach. It takes up a lot of time, and you know, oftentimes you know, we're away a lot, putting hours in, looking at film, and you know, sometimes the family takes a back burner a little bit. So, special thank you to those wives that are able to handle that and deal with it, because I know it's not always easy. And a special thank you to my wife Diane for helping me and supporting me in the things that I love about football and allowing me to do it. Again, without her giving me that support, it would be very difficult. And for the ladies that run out the flags, this year my daughter was a part of that, and Olivia Cisco, and then we brought in the Tiger. Again, I don't want to forget our Tiger. You know, he's done a great job. Very entertaining, not just for the football season, but I was able to watch him through the basketball season. So, you know, to have a mascot that goes out and takes it a lot of pride and do it with a lot of purpose, it's entertaining to watch, so we appreciate that as well. Okay, so that's kind of all my thank yous, and you know, again, hopefully I didn't leave anybody out overall, but I know Coach Smith put some individuals up there as well that we wanted to recognize also. So we'll go ahead and do the JV Awards. Coach Belt will take that.
Our JV team went 2-2 this year, and we only played 4 games. Obviously not a normal season, but over that season there was a lot of growth we saw with these players. It was kind of a short amount of games, and some of the growth was like Hudson getting a lot more comfortable playing quarterback, or some of the offensive line I got to work with pretty closely, like Nate Welsh, even though he missed some games. He ended up coming on pretty strong at the end of the year and being pretty impressive. Or Jacob Sheriff, he's a pretty impressive kid. And if you look at some of those offensive linemen that I got to work with pretty closely from June to now, or to the end of the season, it was kind of remarkable, and I'm really proud of those guys. And then, a guy like Jace Hurd, who kind of wasn't as knowledgeable about the offense until, I don't know, maybe our Uniota JV game. We ran power about 40 times and he ended up finally figuring out how to fit it. And there was just a lot of growth. Probably one of my favorite moments from the season was against Payne Valley when Creed scored the first touchdown of his entire life. He was kind of, just figuring out what football was. And he came to the sideline and he was like, you couldn't wipe the smile off his face. He was so enthusiastic. And it was really spread throughout the team. It was pretty contagious. It was pretty great. And he ended up scoring his second touchdown in that game too. And, since there was only 4 games, we had to evaluate kind of their growth throughout practices more than maybe another year. And, their contributions to Friday nights by being on the scout team is probably, it can't be overstated. Even though those guys probably didn't play a lot of minutes and meaningful time, they really helped through scout team preparing those varsity guys. And I'm pretty proud of them for that. And I'm really proud of how they grew, and I'm excited to see how they're going to continue to grow and what they're going to do next year. So with that said, we're going to start with the awards, and the first player up is Caden Eric. Okay. Then we have Jameson Morton. Braden Horsley. Justin Williams. Hudson Kelly. Tanner Nichols. Gavin Clayton. Braden Lee. Creed Smith. Jake Schrader. Davey Atkins. Devin McGuinn. Wyatt DeMint. Brandon Trigo. Nate Welsh. Jacob Sherrick. William Madden. Tyler Malone. Colton Lansing. Savannah Johnson. Joe Fosbaugh. Braylon Frederick. And Dakota Lee. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to do the first year award. We'll start out with here. First of all, just a few things that I want to kind of go over just to discuss unique season that we had here overall. Again, it's been a while. It's kind of weird that we were doing a banquet in March for football. So this is a first overall. But after having some time to reflect on the season and just really amazed at all the hard work and effort that our guys put in throughout the summer and all the things they did just to make sure that we had a season. Also, our administration, our staff, our community, our fans, we definitely all had to make some adjustments to make sure that we could have a season. And even though at times maybe we didn't like it, we made sure that we did what we needed to do to make it happen. And for our guys, for our players, they just did a great job of just focusing on what they could control and doing all the things that we needed to do to prepare for a season. There was a lot of uncertainty coming in June. We knew we could start lifting. We knew we could start conditioning. In July, we knew we could kind of continue to do some stuff like that. But we weren't sure because we didn't even know if we were going to get to have a season or not. And it took us to the very end of July, basically, to figure out whether or not we were even going to have a scrimmage. So we were told that we were going to have a reduced season to 6 games. We picked up a scrimmage real quick with Warren, and it ended up being a very good scrimmage for us. And then we picked up Granville as a non-league game. And, this was a last-minute pickup. We'd never played Granville before, really didn't know anything about them. And, if anybody was at that game, it was pretty daggone exciting. So once we got that going, then the rest is history. And, this definitely was a season to remember. A unique season in scheduling and how the playoffs were set up for the first time. Everybody was allowed to get in. And as a result of that, some very special moments came about this year. Again, going back to the first game in Granville, there were times where it didn't look so good for the Tigers. But, we were able to come from behind and get a win there. An overtime victory against Willersburg. Winning the league for the first time in many years. Playing 2 playoff games at home. 2 big wins against, very good opponents. And then, again, going toe-to-toe with Flint Massey and taking it to the final seconds. These are some very special memories that these guys created, and I'm sure they won't forget. This has been one of the best groups of kids I've been around to work with, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be on the practice field. This is a group of guys that just went out and worked. We didn't have to really get after them a whole lot. They had a mission in mind, and they took care of business. So, again, just extremely proud of what you guys have been able to accomplish. You have deserved everything that you got this year, and, it was a tremendously exciting year. This is another senior class that's been to the playoffs for 4 years in a row. For their total 4-year career here, 33 wins and 10 losses, 30-6 in the regular season, and 3-4 in the postseason. So a big jump. We have been very good in the postseason. Prior to that, we got to win a couple games this year, and again, you guys have set the bar, you set the standard for things that we want to continue to achieve. Probably the thing I'm most proud of this group is just how they bought into our steer the ship mentality. That was our theme. We had a lot of storms and we had a lot of rough waters this season. We had people that through COVID and all the quarantines, and we had some injuries early on in the season. And again, the guys didn't focus on the storms. They focused on what they needed to do and just steered the ship. And we found a way to win. And so we had a perfect season, regular season, and then again, like I said, 1 to 2 playoff games, and just come up a little bit short in the end. We have some very talented players this year that we're going to lose. Like I said, they did a great job just focusing on the things they needed to do and to focus on the process and got things done. The other thing that we talked about, and again, this is something that Coach and I did a really good job at emphasizing throughout the beginning each and every week, which I think, again, says a lot for this group, this idea of a windshield mentality. fits this group. You know, basically the idea that no matter what's behind us in the rearview mirror, it's always about what's next. And that's kind of the approach that we took here. You know, we didn't know what was going to happen from week to week, you know, but we just took it as it came, didn't worry about what happened previously. Let's just move on and get the job done. So again, this was a great group that did that and contributed to all the success that they had this season. So let's take a look at the first year varsity award winners. Okay, the first one here is Jace Jackowitz. Jace, a lot of special teams for us. You know, in the Williamsburg game, we had lost some people, and so he had to kind of long snap for us. One of the biggest games probably of his life, and was able to come through for us. So, through special teams and those things, he was able to get a varsity ladder. Keegan Smith, kickoff and extra point for us this season. Him and Ben shared duties at times when Ben was banged up a little bit. Keegan had a good year for us. Dylan Smith played defensive line for us. As a kid that, you know, we expect big things from him, a strong kid, athletic, got to keep him focused, and he's going to be pretty hard to handle in the next few years. But he's an excellent pass rusher and does a pretty good job against the run as well. Logan Long, or better known as Larry. Larry is also, you know, a young player for us. Be a junior next year. We've got a couple more years left with him. Again, just really learning about how good he really is. He's very strong, very physical, and from a defensive line standpoint, you know, he did a great job for us this year. And I know he's being groomed to be an offensive lineman as well, and I'm sure he's going to be very good at that also. Brady Anderson. Brady is a special teams guy for us. He's played all kinds of positions. He's played outside backer, he's played inside linebacker. He just does whatever we ask him to do, and he runs down like a maniac on special teams, and he's not afraid to go tackle people. Jace Hurd. Jace, a young'un for us here that got thrown in the fire early when we had some injuries and things to deal with, and probably wasn't maybe ready for all that quite at that time, but he, you know, took it all in stride and you know, tried to learn as quickly as he could, and he got better throughout the season, and again, with a lot of focus and a lot of effort, and just, you know, keep working in the weight room, he's going to be a pretty good one. Jacob Crisp. Actually, Coach, yeah, save him. Hold on, Jacob. You're not. We're going to save a couple guys here for later, okay? So let's go Austin Topping. Again, Austin, you know, he's primarily an outside backer for us. He's a guy that goes out on the scout team, and he plays a lot of different spots for us to help get the varsity guys ready to play. He's a special teams guy, and again, he's another kid we'll have back next year that was, again, some work in the weight room, and as he's working on hard right now, he can find some time on the playing field. Lane Johnson. Let's go to Roll. Chris Rollins. It was nice to see how Rolo developed this past season. He really worked very hard to become a very good defensive lineman. I know Coach Knight has some good things to say about the effort and the things he's done to make himself better. And again, if he keeps working, he's going to be a good one. Jake Taylor. Again, Jake's another defensive line guy for us, strong kid. Doing good things in the weight room right now, and you know, again, we look for him to help us out on the defensive line, probably on the inside a little bit more this year, and we want to beef up beef up the interior a little bit. That's it for the first year award winners. Again, a couple guys will get you here towards the end. Okay, we'll go second year guys. The first one here is Dawson Shoemaker. Unfortunately for Dawson, we kind of lost him early in the season last year, and we were hoping he was going to make it back. It just didn't work out that way. But he's had time to heal up, and he is continuing to heal up, and he's working really hard in the weight room. He's putting up some good numbers right now, and again, it's going to be exciting to see him to be able to get back on the field, and I know he's anxious and ready to do that. Brock Adams. Brock, offensive lineman primarily for us last season. As time went by, we got him in on certain packages for defense. This has tremendous strength. Again, is doing really well in the weight room right now. He's getting stronger and he works really, really hard. So, we expect him to be a two-way player for us next year, and again, he should be a force. Peyton Harris. Cody Helton. Okay, Cody, offensive line, defensive line. Again, he's one of those guys that is progressing and getting better and better as he learns the system. We like to see him be probably in the mix for a defensive lineman next year. He's been coming and working hard in the weight room as of late, so we know that he's going to put great effort in, and he's going to work very hard to earn a spot next year. Zach Green. Zach's offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Played a little more defense this year when he got in, some different packages. Zach's a wrestler also, so I think that's been helping him with his hands, and we look forward to him becoming a very successful pass rusher next year. And again, he's doing good things in the weight room right now as well. Ty Evans, also known as Big 50. What do we think? Again, Ty's offensive line, defensive line. We sneak him in at linebacker from time to time. He doesn't want to give that up, but again, Ty had some good minutes for us this past season and played in some crucial situations for us. Again, one of the things that comes to mind to me in the Varsity game, if you ever watch that, he laid the lumber with the old fullback there, and that's one of the things we can count on Ty doing is going and filling the gap, and we got to just convince him he can do it down with his hand in the dirt, or he can do it standing up. So again, Ty's one of those guys. We get him working hard and getting stronger. He's going to be pretty good. Kai Marquez. Kai's wide receiver, defensive back. Primarily played defensive back for us this past season. Again, you can't ask for someone that goes out and works as hard as he does. Again, he knows his craft. He works hard to get better each and every game, and again, he's going to give you his best effort each and every time, and we expect big things out of him next year. Wyatt Crabtree. Wyatt, tight end and defensive end. He ended up moving from outside linebacker last year to defensive end, and again, I think he had a pretty good front this past season, and he was a big part of that. Wyatt ended up being our second leading tackler this season, and ended up having close to 8 sacks this year and 16 tackles for loss. So again, he was able to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and our third down packages, we could really get after people. So, him coming back and having a couple more years, we expect big things from him. Also, he's doing really good things in the weight room also. Mark Stolley. provide safety. We missed Mark for a couple games, but you know, he's kind of our communicator back there in the secondary, and you know, he just does a lot of great things for us. He can cover. He's not afraid to come and play the run, and you know, coming off a great, successful basketball season, trying to get him back in the weight room here and getting him back to work. Penn Morrison. Penn, as a junior, had a great year for us on both sides of football. Again, you know, he has great hands. You know, there's many times where he comes up with some crucial plays and crucial first downs. Ended up having 39 receptions this year for over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had some big plays on defense. He ended up having several interceptions this year. Let me find that number. He said 4. 4. I knew he would know. And one of the big ones was Clint Massey, where he goes up and gets one hand, and it was a big time play. So again, Penn's another guy we get back next year, and again, we're going to expect him to do great things for us. Wade Futhy. Wade had some injuries early on in the first part of the season, but he played defensive back and played quarterback for us. Again, you know, he was able to get some time at quarterback, and we got a little bit of time at safety at different points throughout the year. Again, he's a kid that's a multi-sport athlete, and you know, he can do a lot of things for us, and we expect him to kind of step in that role next year and compete for a quarterback spot, and you know, Wade brings some different things to the table, and you know, with him, his hard work, his effort, his mentality, you know, we expect him to do things very well next year. I think that's it. Second year guys. Okay. Third year guys. And all those guys are born. Yeah, we'll go to Will. So Will Futhy. Again, Will had a great year for us on both sides of the ball as well. Offensively, he had 44 receptions, 13 touchdowns, 865 yards. He was also pretty high on our defensive tackle list as well. You know, he had 2 interceptions from the defensive end standpoint. He also had a scoop and score for a touchdown. So again, Will, you know, a guy that's coming back for us next year, he's getting a lot of attention from different colleges. So again, he knows he's got to work hard and get better, and he's going to continue to do that. Let's go to Ben Flanders. Oh, yep, go JT. JT. Yep. So JT. Again, JT's linebacker, tight end, primarily defensive guy for us this past season. Again, unfortunately had some injuries early on that kept him out for a lot of the first part of the season. He's also a long snapper for us, and you know, he's a kid that can play multiple positions. And you know, getting back next year, and hopefully he stays healthy, and you know, hopefully he steps into one of those linebacker roles. Okay, so that's our 3-year guys, right? Okay, so we're going to go seniors here, and we might have a mix of different awards here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go and take it over here. Let's start with Zeke Brown. Coach Smith, I'm probably messing you up here. I'm sorry. Okay, just a few things here. Zeke Brown, looking at some of his career totals from he basically was a 4-year starter for us, obviously. Defensive career, 255.5 half tackles, 29 and a half tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 10 interceptions. Again, we started him out as some safety corner, and he found a home at linebacker and just had a tremendous career here defensively, and then offensively, he had 63 catches for 675 yards and 11 touchdowns. So, again, how do you replace a guy like that? It's going to be tough, but this is where you guys are going to have to step up and fulfill that role. Let's go to Hayden Shanks. Again, Hayden, just had a tremendous career here, dealt with a lot of adversity, just a pure competitor in everything that he did. His career passing record of 6,889 yards, career touchdown record, 84 touchdowns. Yards in the season this year, 2,574 yards passing, and touchdowns in the season set a record with 34. Again, those numbers speak for themselves. It didn't happen by accident. It was a lot of hard work and preparation. And again, how do you replace a guy like that? Well, it's going to be tough. But again, we're going to keep working. We're going to get guys ready, and we're going to ready to go play. And again, those are two guys that have set a standard that everybody wants to achieve. Phoenix Wolf. Phoenix, for an offensive career, he had 150 catches, 1,675 yards, and imagine this, Phoenix, 23 touchdowns. How about that? Okay, good number, right? His defensive career here, he had 104 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 7 interceptions, which again, his junior year, he didn't get to play a lot of defense because he was banged up. So, again, that's another guy, it's like, how do you figure out how to replace this guy? Again, we've got some people that's going to have to step up. We've got some people that can go work and get better, and that's a good guy to chase and follow. Jackson Poe. Poe, defensive guy for us, defensive line. Again, has played a little bit everywhere for us, on that side of the ball. But also played running back for us last year and had a great year. Rushing for 650 yards, had 6 touchdowns. And again, I think it's one of those things that he just progressed and got better throughout the season. And again, he made us better this year. We were a little bit banged up early on running back. We had some youth and experience. And at some point, I think Jackson felt like he just needed to take it upon himself, put it on his shoulders, and go make it happen. And there were many times when he finished his runs, and he tried to punish people. And very proud of him and all that he accomplished this year on both sides of the football. Let's go with Keith Brown. If I can make you go all the way back. Keith ended up playing outside backer for us again. Him coming in new to the system early on in the season. That's not an easy pass sometimes to come in and learn a new defense and everything. But he fit in well with us this year. He ended up having 30-some tackles this year, a couple tackles for loss. A couple of those very key situations. I just know that he had an interception. He had a couple of key pass deflections on some first down conversions that, had those not happened, things could have turned out a little bit different for us. So again, it was a pleasure to watch Keith play this year, and we're going to miss him. Spencer Pollard. Spencer is a guy that primarily in the early part of his career was an offensive-only guy, played center, and then he always wanted to play some defense, and he finally got his wishes last couple of years, and especially this year. I thought he just did a tremendous job, linebacker, and just doing his job. And I think that helped contribute to the success of our defense, and it helped contribute to the success Zeke had this year, because he knew that Spencer was always going to be where he needed to be. And Spencer also center, you know, he's been responsible for the success that we've had offensively. You know, we've had, thrown for 2,000 yards last couple of years. We've had a 1,000-yard rusher previous years. So, he's been a big part of that. So again, he's a guy that's just been a staple in our system. Going to be hard to replace, but we got to have young guys step up. Andrew Welch. Again, I can say the same thing about Andrew. He's been a guy that, has just been a staple in our offense. We asked him to play defense, and, he's a very important part of our program. Strong kid. Again, he's been a big part of the reason why our offense has been so successful in the past few years. Again, 4-year letterman, right? Okay, I need to make sure I emphasize that. Zeke, 4-year letterman also, and or 4-year award winner, varsity award winner, and Phoenix, 4-year varsity award winner. Those were our 3 4-year varsity guys. Let's look at Jacob Crisp. Crispy, this was one of those seasons, if it's all going to come together, you wanted to do it your senior year. And, defensively, he's been on the defensive line for us. And, this year, things seemed to click pretty well for him. We were able to get him in, and he played in certain packages and certain defenses. And, he's a big guy. And, when we played against some teams that tried to be physical with us, we could stick him in there, and he did a great job. Isaiah Robinson. We're also Schmiegel. Schmiegel probably been a JV guy for us, but he's one of those guys that I consider him to be a leader in this program in the sense that he just goes out and does the things that he needs to do. He goes out and tries to make people better, whether we ask him to be on a scout team or staying late, picking up equipment, doing whatever. He's definitely a total team player, and he's been a pleasure to have around, and we're going to miss him. Michael Davis. Let's go, Buddy Deal. Again, Buddy Deal kind of falls in that category of Spencer and Andrew, in the sense that they've been a big part of why our offense has been so successful. He's a big dude that goes out and works, and we lost some important keys to our success up front. And again, those guys have all set a standard for all these younger linemen that they're going to try to achieve and hold up that standard. So again, Buddy Deal is going to be one of those guys that's going to be hard to replace. Those young guys are going to be able to chase those guys and try to work hard to achieve those goals that these guys did. Blaze Reeder's not here. I want to say a few things about Blaze. I talked to Blaze the other day. They let me know he does post-secondary. Blaze is a very intelligent guy, and he's just super busy, so he couldn't make it. But I just want to say how proud I am of Blaze and the things that he was able to accomplish this year. Really, last couple of years, there was one point probably throughout his football career that he probably didn't think football was for him. But he's a very determined individual, and he made himself into a great offensive lineman. And again, a big reason as to why we were successful offensively. And again, he's going to be hard to replace. But we've got those guys that they're going to work to try to do that. Ben Flanders. Again, Ben, kickoff guy, extra point guy for us, punter. Got a few senior stats here for Ben. He also became a little bit famous for his drop kicks on Twitter there, made it on social media rounds. But Ben averaged 29 yards, punting, his longest was a 41-yard punt. He averaged on our kickoffs 46 yards on the kickoff as well. So again, having someone that can kick the ball, be consistent, he does a great job doing onside kicks, and like I said, doing the drop kicks and stuff. He's pretty much automatic with that. So, we've had big come from soccer and maybe golf this past season. So we kind of played multiple sports while he's playing football for us, but he always made sure he came to practice and he got things done. So those are our varsity, our awards overall. We have some special awards and things I want to go over. Real quick here, we're going to do the all-league, and I'm going to talk about some specific awards, and then we will kind of wind this thing up a little bit. Not doing too bad, I don't think. So we'll go to the SOC awards here, and we can hand that. We do have the awards. We can hand those out. Okay. So first team, all SOC, Zeke Brown. He was also co-defensive player of the year. Hayden Shanks, offensive player of the year. Will Futhy. Phoenix Wolf. Spencer Pollard. Ken Morrison. And Andrew Welch. Those are our first team, all SOC. Second team SOC award, Mark Stolling. Wyatt Crabtree. And Brock Adams. Okay, for our all-district awards, again, we don't have any awards to give you, but this is your recognition for that. First team offense, quarterback Hayden Shanks, offensive player of the year. That was about the 5th year in a row that we've had an offensive player of the year. Wide receiver Will Futhy, O-line Andrew Welch, and all-purpose player was Phoenix Wolf. As far as defense, all-district, linebacker position Zeke Brown, defensive player of the year. And Mark Stolley at DB. Special mention were Hayden Gill, Ken Morrison, and Wyatt Crabtree. For our All-Ohio awards, first team All-Ohio Division 4, first team Hayden Shanks. For offense, second team offense Will Futhy, third team offense Andrew Welch. First team All-Ohio defense Zeke Brown. Honorable mention, Phoenix Wolf, Mark Stolley. And they're not having the game this year, but our North-South All-Star participants would be Hayden Shanks and Zeke Brown. Okay, so that is our special, league, special awards, district, All-Ohio. And just a few things here that I want to kind of end with. I'll give you things so far. Yes. Yeah, just want to hand those out. What's that? Yeah. So if you are, we'll start with freshmen, I guess.
Let's just start with senior.
Okay.
Over here.
Senior guys here. We felt like we wanted to get you guys something special for the victory at Willisburg, which I told you we were going to do something for that, and we would like to make this happen a lot. With the help of Atomic Credit Union and Jeff Grimes and his family, we were able to kind of get good keepsake that you can have, you can wear it or whatever you want to do with it. So a nice reminder of a great accomplishment. A few things here while Coach Knight's handing it out. Just kind of a message to send off, and then we've got a few other things to show you here. We're going to lose 13 seniors. We should return about 48 kids. It's kind of similar because it's almost like the exact same number from last year. We're going to return 25 guys that got a varsity letter. 19 from the junior class, 13 from the sophomore class, and 16 from the freshman class. Okay, and then obviously we get 8th graders like incoming freshmen. We hope to get 16, 20 of those, whatever. So we're going to still have pretty good numbers next year. One of the things that I want to kind of leave you with here, our theme was to steer the ship last season, okay? And we're keeping a similar thought of that. So keep this quote in mind. And it kind of comes from that idea of steering the ship. A ship in harbor is safe. That's not what that is not what ships are built for. Okay? It's easy to kind of rest on our laurels here. We have expectations and standards to uphold. We can't just be happy with what we've done. We can't just be satisfied. We can't just stay in a harbor where it's nice and safe. Okay? We got a lot more work to do. Okay? So we're going to have a lot more battles. We're going to have a lot more storms and a lot more rough waters. Okay? So we got to get out of the harbor and we got to keep steering. Okay? So for you young guys that are coming back, we have a lot of people doing some great things in the weight room. And we have a lot of guys that play spring sports. We have a lot of guys doing some other things. And that's great. But the standards, the legacy that this group of people, these seniors will leave, it didn't happen by accident. It didn't happen by chance. It happened because they worked hard. They had goals and expectations. They had standards. And that's something you guys are going to have to put on your shoulders and go with. Because it's not just going to happen because this group did it for you. Okay? So just keep that in mind, that we got to keep steering and we got to keep working. One last thing here, if you guys, can kind of go along with me here. Hopefully you remember the cue. The idea as you go through life, it's something we always talk about. Make sure you give relentless effort, no excuses, and always have tiger pride. Okay? Coach Smith, we're going to show a video here in a second. But if you guys would, like one last time, tiger pride.
Never dies.
RMA.
Every day.
Okay. Please remember that. Also, Google Classroom. We're trying to do a better job of getting information out to you. If you haven't joined the Google Classroom, it's been sent to you. Or you should have to check your school email from time to time. It does have the new calendar on there, the summer calendar. Okay? There could be some changes. That's pretty much what we're going to follow. Okay? So you need to get on there. You need to check that stuff. That way you know if you're going on vacations, when to schedule that stuff. Our July is a little bit different than last year. We're not going to be able to take the last week of July off. The season gets bumped up. Our first game next year is August 20th instead of August 28th. So the season gets moved up. So you need to check those things as far as for vacations and just know when you need to do things. And if you have questions, then please ask and coach. Okay? Coach Smith, are you ready? guys